Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for episode 4 of Alien Earth. But before we get into that, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Shall I leave a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts on Alien Earth, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into it, shall we? So, to me, overall, another solid episode within this series. Quite frankly, I don't think there has been a bad episode overall, but I will say, and I did say this on my immediate reaction, and sometimes when you say something in the immediate reaction, you feel differently when you get to your proper review because, you've had to let it sit in and you've been able to analyze it a little more as opposed to going to knee jerk, is that I said in my immediate thoughts that out of the 4 episodes, this is 4. And right now, I still somewhat think that way. But I will say, after really pondering on it, the more I'm really liking this episode and a lot of the dynamics that are being presented throughout it. And the overall theme of this episode of being tested, that is what being an adult is to be constantly tested. Because I felt like a lot of people were being presented within that and having scenarios of being tested throughout this whole entire episode. I mean, slightly, right? I mean, he is the main catalyst of that. Being really caught between a rock and a hard place with his situation with the cyborg basically within his head. While he's having this conversation with some beautiful cutting of, where like someone was a little faded out while the other one's sitting on the, while Slightly is sitting on the rock and you're still seeing him. Very, very cool shot. We did that a couple times throughout this episode. And while they're having the conversation, and then he gives him his real name. I'm like, man, why'd you do that? Like, I literally thought, like, he's just going to go to the family so that he can have some leverage over you. Because I think our cyborg is probably not necessarily our main antagonist, but he's going to be like the ongoing one, if you will. Because obviously the Xenomorph is the star antagonist. And I think the Prodigy is like the main human antagonist, while the cyborg is kind of like that third one that's in the ether that you still got to worry about, but he's not the main focus antagonist on it. So once he gave out the real name, I was like, damn it. He's having the conversation with Kirsch, Timothy Olyphant's character, and they have it goes, is this a test? That is what being an adult is constantly being tested. And then later on within the episode, Kirsch knows that the cyborg is hacked into him, but he's not saying anything. He's not going to the Prodigy and telling him, hey, one of our kids is hacked, or like really trying to stop him from doing anything. He's kind of just letting him go. Now we'll see what happens in episode 4, because the reveal that he knows that he's hacked and that someone is whispering in his ear, because he goes to the eggs afterwards and he looks at it, but then he doesn't lock it down. He doesn't go and put him in a cage like our doctor did to Nibs early on in this episode. I will say, out of all the storylines, just to get sidetracked real quick and just to cover it, her storyline is the one that intrigues me the least, is Nibs. I'm waiting for it to get to second gear because it looks like she just wants to be a kid still, and that she regrets doing this and becoming a Sith, and so she's like pretending she's pregnant, and then she's not wanting to hear any facts whatsoever. She just wants to live in this make world life that she made, where she can still be human and she still can get pregnant and she can have all of these different things where she can live a full life as opposed to just being sick, which is very, very intriguing. But I will say, out of all of them, it is the one that is the least engaging to me so far. That interrogation therapy scene was interesting. Don't get me wrong. I was very much engaged. I was like, ooh, that could be something later on down. But yeah, out of all the storylines, it's just not the one that excites me the most. But yeah, when we go back to Slightly, and that whole storyline, again, Kirsch is not pressing him by any means. He has the conversation. He has the whole speak no evil, see no evil scenario for him. But yeah, he's just letting him go. Now we'll see in week 4, in episode 5, to see if he does press on him, because we get that reveal late within the episode, kind of when everything is starting to wrap up a little bit. I think it was about like 15 minutes left when that happened, so we can't fully tackle it. But yeah, still overall very, very curious to see how that goes. Now I hope his mom is going to be okay, and his brothers as well, and see if they're still going to be occupied by the time when we get to the next call. So again, that storyline is very engaging to me too. Kirsch, what he's going through, testing out on the xenomorphs. I will say this Iolin, I'm not saying it right, but the alien that's with an I was trying to say I and alien and merge it together. It didn't work. It was a bad joke. I'm sorry, y'all. Very, very interesting how it goes about it, because the scene with the goat, and y'all know me, I'm not the hugest fan of animal violence within films. It serves its purpose, and I think it was necessary because, yeah, you would have it test on an actual living creature because it needs an actual living organism to actually really test its full ability, so I understood it here. But, overall, I would rather just not see that. But, yeah, it goes into the eye, it's standing up, and then it's like just focusing, it's like it's studying, it's doing all these different things. Really curious to see how that's going to go across about it. And then everything we did with Wendy was also pretty good too. It looks like we're starting to get into that second gear. I like how the other kids are starting to challenge her because I think it's very fair. Even though the Prodigy was using this as leverage for her to do what he wants. Which also I really like, the constant battle of, oh crap, I forgot her name. But the one who's trying to become the number one child. The new Wendy, if you will, because she's constantly trying to get Prodigy's approval. Because when she starts speaking alien, he goes, "Oh, you can do all these different things, but can you do that?" And like she's like actually physically hurt by it. Very curious to see what that's going to progress into. But yeah, the fact that her brother gets to stay, and they all had families, and none of them get to come, and he's using that like, yeah, no, he needs to go. Because the other kids don't get to do that, so why do yours get to do it? It goes, well, all these different things, because she's being selfish. She truly is. And even her brother says, too, goes, yeah, no, it's not fair that I'm here and your other siblings cannot. He's not saying that he wants to leave, and I'm curious to see how Wendy's going to play that next week, because she's physically hurt by that whole altercation when Slightly comes out and goes, I have brothers, I have a mother, why can't my family come? Why does yours get to stay? And then she's trying to go like, oh, well, I'm the oldest. What? Like, that's not right. And then, the way they're all talking, he goes, yeah, it is not fair. They should be here. And that's what he's meaning. Like, he doesn't want to leave because, he has his out where they go, okay, well, if you're not going to do what we say, then, here's the bill for your lung. And you cannot stay here because you no longer work for us. And again, I think that was another scenario of, hey, I'm being tested. Or are you really going to stand on business? Do you really hate this business that much? Or are you going to be able to pay this fee? Or do you want to stay here and actually be with your sister and, you get to continue to live this life and you don't have to worry about a bill coming for your brand new lung? What do you want to do? Oh, okay, that's what I thought. Like, they just have all these different things, and then his friends come out and they have a conversation, and I'm worried about those friends, man, once the xenomorph does grow up. I do think we're building to Wendy basically having the xenomorph as a pet, which is really intriguing. We've never had that where the xenomorph actually answered to someone, and I feel like with the show we can buy into that a little bit more. I still need to understand as to why she's able to communicate. Hopefully later on we do get that explanation, because she was able to do it even before she saw the xenomorph the first time in episode 2. I think even before they got there, or even they started exploring, like she could already hear the sound waves of the xenomorph. Like she was already somewhat connected to it. So I just need to know why she's able to do this, because no one else is able to. None of the other Siths. Our villainous cyborg can't do it, and you would think this is something he would program into himself before he programs it into someone else. So that is like the one thing that's dangling that I'm just like, oh, I think we need to tackle that pretty soon. If not the next episode, then definitely the episode after that. To see as to why she's able to communicate. But yeah, when they have that nice moment when the chest burster bursts out of the cage, and they're making eye contact and they're talking, I'm like, yeah, at some point it's going to become like, hey, it's a wild animal, she has to control it. And then when she does get in control of it, I don't think the brother is going to last. I think he's going to die along with his friends. I think the brother is the death that we'll feel sad about, while his friends are red shirts and they're there to make up the numbers. Because I do think a body count's going to go up, and we're starting to realize who's going to make it and who's not. I think all the Lost Boys are going to make it, besides maybe Nibs and the one who is attached to the prodigy who wants to become number one. I think those two might be on the bubble. The one who wants to be called Isaac after Isaac Newton, I think he can make it. He's starting to become a much more bigger presence. And I do think Slightly is going to make it out because he's pretty prominent. And then his friend, I think, will probably make it out too. But the other two girls, I don't know if they're going to be able to make it out of it. The brother, again, I think he's the death that we might feel sorry about. There are the two doctors who we now learn were a couple. I don't think they make it either. And then the prodigy is the last death because I think the prodigy is going to let the brother die in some way, shape, or form. I don't think the xenomorph kills him. I think he's going to be like a human death, and like she's going to see it. And then this is going to be like her way of taking full control because she finally gets control of the xenomorph. He's going to be like, oh my God, you will always my favorite and all these different things, blah, 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 blah. And then she's going to go get him. And then he's going to die. And it's going to be very, very satisfying. But yeah, again, overall, very, very good episode. Again, you know, it's always nice when you can anticipate next week. And you also got these theories for how next week's going to go. Like I said, I already predicted the finale. We'll see if I even get that. But the fact that I'm invested in this show that much, that I'm willing to do that, I think is a testament to the quality of the 4 episodes that we have. Yeah, sure, out of the 4, this one may be 4, but this was still a very, very solid episode. A lot of very intriguing topics to discuss for sure. And yeah, let me know what y'all think about down in the comment section. Leave a like if you made it this far within a review. I do greatly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. And of course, remember to squeeze the days, guys, because life is too short not to give it your all. So squeeze every opportunity that you can. And until next time, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.